Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. By now you all know me, but if not, my name's Mario. I put out videos on clinical research, on occasion on personal finance, and one day I hope to put out some travel videos. Today's video is a clinical research video. It is all about the site initiation visit. If you haven't watched my video on the site selection visit, also called the pre-study visit, I recommend watching that video first, as the video here builds upon the pre-study visit video. If you're not familiar with the sequence of events, the pre-study visit is the first visit type, and if your site is selected thereafter, a site initiation visit would be conducted. So this is all on the site initiation visit. But before I jump into that, I do want to remind you to please smash that like button, and also to please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. The other thing that I would really appreciate if you can do is if you could let me know down in the comments how you found out about my channel. That would be super helpful to me, and also what country you're watching from. I'm assuming most of my subscribers are in the United States, but I'm sure I have subscribers elsewhere as well. All right, the site initiation visit. What is the site initiation visit? Well, at its core, the site initiation visit does two things. Its main purpose is a training visit. It trains the site how to conduct the protocol, make them familiar with all the protocol requirements, and all that goes into that aspect. Beyond training, it's also an opportunity to confirm the site has everything they need in order to enroll the subject. For example, sites may require access to an EDC system or an electronic data capture system. They may require access to an IVRS or IWRS system. They may require specific equipment on site. You can check all of this at the site initiation visit and make sure that the site is ready to go. So that is what the site initiation visit in a nutshell: a training visit and a chance to make sure that the site has everything that they need in order to conduct the study. So in order to really do a thorough, in-depth video on a site initiation visit, I would need a protocol and to tell you everything that goes into that protocol. As this is a more general video, I'm going to try and cover things that go across all site initiation visits, or I should say most. Some of this may not be applicable depending on the study, but these are sort of the universal concepts. The first universal concept of the site initiation visit that you will cover is recruitment. I like to incorporate this after the inclusion-exclusion criteria. So if you don't know, CRAs are given slide decks to present the protocol, and one of the things that goes in to the slide deck is the inclusion-exclusion criteria. And after you present the inclusion-exclusion criteria, I like to ask the site, based on these inclusion-exclusion criteria, do you see any barriers to recruitment? What do you project for recruitment at your site? Are there strategies that you know have worked for your site in the past if you fail to meet those recruitment projections? Questions like that. Really understand how the site's going to recruit, how you can help them, and what strategies may work for them. For example, a site may say a lot of people in our community listen to radio, and if we could have a radio ad that would boost recruitment. So make sure you're aware of things of that nature in this recruitment discussion. The other thing I like to talk about along with recruitment is the informed consent, and the informed consent process, that the site has an SOP or a process in place for consenting subjects. And if they do, that you should get a copy of that SOP and review it, and then ask them to walk you through the informed consent process. If there's interest, let me know. I can create a video into all that goes into the informed consent process. It's covered in ICHE 6. But at a high level, you want to make sure that the subject has time to review the study, that they understand the risks, benefits, alternatives, that they understand that their participation is voluntary, that they have all their questions answered, and if they agree to participate, that they are given a copy of their signed informed consent form. So that's the informed consent. So the other item that's universal to studies is some form of investigational product. For most of my career, I worked on drug studies. So for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to assume the investigational product is some form of drug, but it could be other things, devices or supply sample kits or whatever that this sponsor is having as their investigational product. But for the purpose of this video, let's just assume this is a drug study that I'm talking about. So what goes into the drug study? Well, you want to make sure that IP is on site. If it's not on site, you want to let sites know when to expect it. If there's an IVRS or IWRS system, you want to make sure that sites log in the drug into the system so the system knows it's on site. If not, that they're keeping their accountability logs current or doing both IVRS current along with the IP accountability logs. You want to make sure that they have temperature monitoring in place if required and understand how they are monitoring temperature, that their thermostat's calibrated, that they are keeping records, and how are they going to be sharing them? Is it going to be electronic temperature records? Is it going to be paper temperature records? How often are they taken? Are they taken daily? Are they taken daily except weekends? Or is it a continuous monitoring temperature device? How will a site deal with temperature deviations? How are they notified? Is there a system in place, etc.? So you want to make sure you understand everything that goes along with the investigational product. And the other things you want to be aware of is potential transport. So if the site has satellite sites and IP is shipped to the main site and then driven or transported somehow to satellite sites, that they have an IP transport SOP in place. And if it's required that they destroy IP on site, that they have an IP destruction SOP as well. So that's the IP portion. The other portion that you want to cover is just a reminder of the regulatory documents. Ideally, most of the regulatory documents, if not all, will be in place before the site initiation visit is occurring. Things like the IRB approval letter, make sure that CVs, financial disclosures, medical licenses, and all the other possible required regulatory documents are in place at the site. At the site initiation visit, I like to make sure that the site starts their delegation log and starts to complete it and help the site with it if needed. And some sites, just be aware, will want to use their own delegation logs. If that's the case, make sure you get a copy and that you review it and make sure it's comparable to the sponsor provided delegation log. So that's the delegation log and regulatory documents, etc. So there's that aspect of the study. The other thing that I'll cover that's universal to SIVs is you want to understand how the site is capturing their source. Are they using paper? Are they using an EMR system? If they are using an EMR system, is their EMR 21 CFR Part 11 compliant? If they're using an EMR, are monitors given direct access? If they're not giving direct access to monitors, are certified copies being printed? You want to understand all that goes into the source documents and how you're going to be able to monitor them. Some sites may require agreements in order to access the EMR, and if so, you should probably collect a copy of that agreement as well. So just make sure that you have all of those basics down and you know how you're going to be getting the source and how it's being documented. Along with this is monitoring visits. This is a good time to cover all the basics with the site of monitoring visits. What days are good for the site? What days is the PI? What days of the week is the PI available? What are the monitoring hours? Is Wi-Fi available at the site? Copying, etc. Does the site allow co-monitors? And any possible requirements you have around monitoring. So get those covered. The other thing that you should cover is the site's plan for long-term document storage. So after the closeout visit, how long a document's kept on site, and if they're moved elsewhere, where are they moved, what's the address of the long-term storage facility, how long does it take to retrieve documents, and talk about the potential for both sponsor audits and FDA audits, and let the site know that should they be notified in an FDA audit to please notify the sponsor immediately. In terms of FDA audits, the sponsors are are involved and make sure sites are prepared for the FDA audit. So it's a team effort, and sites should notify the sponsor immediately in terms of a potential FDA audit. So those are all the basics of the site initiation visit. You may have specific requirements for your study. Like I said, this is a general video, but I can think of a couple of possible scenarios where there's something specific you need for your study. For example, there may be equipment needed. Maybe you need a specific ECG machine or specific type of centrifuge. So you want to check that the equipment that's needed is on site, and that the equipment is appropriately calibrated. You may also have specific requirements for your study. For example, maybe samples need to go out on the day they're collected. If so, you can ask for things like the last collection time for UPS and FedEx, and how the site plans to make sure that they meet that. Every specific study is going to have their own nuances. So just be aware of that going in. And if there's something that sites don't typically capture, or something that is absolutely required, maybe a specific log for your study, really emphasize it at the site initiation visit. This is your opportunity to make sure that the sites are aware of everything that they need to do. It gets harder to ask sites to do things retroactively. So if you get into a position where you don't appropriately train the site, you're going to get backlash later on when the site says, well, we were never aware we needed to do X. And you'll say, well, I covered it at the site initiation visit, but you probably covered it in passing, and the site may have not fully comprehended it. So if there are any specific requirements, this is the opportunity to emphasize them. So that's everything that I can think of that goes into a site initiation visit. There are probably other aspects as well, but I will end the video here. Again, if you haven't done so already, just a quick reminder to please like this video, to subscribe to my channel, and to let me know how you found out about me. So until next time, have a great day.